privacy, I'll keep it hush, hush. I'll stay down low for you. I like when it's just you and me, I'll keep it hush, 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 baby.
Hey guys, it's Courtney
and Lex,
and this is another episode of The Pleasure's All Yours. Wow. If this is the very first time you are listening to us, we are a podcast all about celebrating the sexual liberation of queer and Black individuals. We're here to laugh, to learn, to listen, and really just talk about how the pleasure is.
All yours, baby.
It's all yours, baby.
In the bag. What's your name on it?
What's your name on it? Stapled for Uber Eats to pick up right on time.
It's tape closed.
20-minute order.
Quality sealed, babe. You are priority delivery.
Yes, every fucking Wednesday just for you. Yeah. So today we have a very special guest. We're going to learn some shit today, y'all. Yeah. Let's introduce yourself.
What's up?
Hi.
My name's Robin.
Okay, fabulous.
You know, I go by they, them pronouns.
Lovely.
This is very recent for me.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, so sometimes I misgender myself. On accident. But yeah, so I am a non-binary trans mass person. Yes. I will also consider myself a lesbian.
Okay.
Right? I'm attracted to all women. Mm-hmm. So no turfing over here. Yeah. So yeah, you know, I would consider myself, you know, a spiritual type of person. I'm into all witchy things, all astrology. Okay, also a PhD student. Yeah. About to be a doctor. Okay. Yeah. Which would be really nice.
Yep.
So I can start getting paid.
Like a doctor.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've been in school for a long time.
Very long time. I'm a professional student.
Yeah.
Professional student.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm trying to get paid. But really, you know, I'm chilling. I'm from Houston, Texas. I'm living in Dallas. I love Dallas now. And I'm really just trying to finish up on school. I'll start being a professor at X name school. I won't put them out there.
Definitely.
You know, they're a little, you know, you might see it later, but not right now. Yeah. But other than that, yeah. I pretty much write about all things like Black and queer, especially dealing with like reproductive justice, which I'm pretty sure we'll talk about.
Yes. Yeah.
But includes conversations of sex too, right? Because you can't talk about reproduction without talking about sex. So, yeah, that's a quick spiel.
Okay, we're really happy to have you on to talk about all those things. And now I'm hearing more things I want to ask you questions about. So I'm gonna like have to pull these out of my head.
Here's a microscope, and it's like right here.
Yeah, you're on blast. You are on blast. So we have you on the pod today, like you said, to talk about reproductive justice. Mm-hmm. So you said you're a PhD candidate. Can you tell me like what that means? Like, what is a dissertation? What is all that shit?
Right. So PhD candidate means basically I'm almost a doctor, but not quite yet until I finish my dissertation. So my dissertation is just one large project that I've been working on probably for the past 5 years since I've been in a program, but started writing on like 6 months ago. And so really it's just for me to show who I am as a scholar. Me as a person, I'm kind of like, I have 1 foot in academia, 1 foot out. I don't really believe in working. I never really wanted to work, but I have to. Mm-hmm. So
Capitalism.
Right. So I chose something that I love to do. And so that's writing, that's talking to Black queer people about their experience, writing about my experience as well. So that's what I do in this dissertation. I'll defend it at the end of the month from my committee, and then they'll tell me I'm a doctor.
Wow. I love it.
And then,
And then you a doctor?
yeah.
So cool.
I love that.
So you said that you have a job that you're going to, what will that be? What will you be doing in that?
So I'll be a professor of advertising.
Right,
you started me to know where that came from. Yeah. So it's kind of like, you know, they you know what? So it was crazy when I was on the job market. I wanted a job that I could be remote because I don't believe in working. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm not going to give my body to the institution in that way. Yeah. And so I really like colleges of communication. Yeah. You know, people try to talk about comm majors, but they live in their best life.
They are.
Yeah, you feel me? So, and I think it's kind of a degree that you even see a lot of Black students in because you can leave out and do so much with it depending on where you want to go. So I decided to stay in that college. It was the same college that I graduated from. And so, now I teach advertising, but I teach it from a different perspective, from a Black perspective, a Black queer lens. So you know, my students, they come in, they pick a brand that they want to work with, even if it's their brand.
Yeah.
And I just kind of teach them how to, you know, use research on a introductory level to better themselves or better their portfolio of however they want to go out on the job market. So, yeah.
Well, I'm very excited. We went to the same alma mater, so it's exciting to hear that. Alma mater?
What is that?
Oh, it's a college. So, like, we went to the school the school. Okay. Alma mater just means like your school. Okay. I don't know why I said that. I could have just said school.
I'm literally over here like, bitch, you could have just said school.
We got a PhD student. I feel like I got to step my vocab up just a little bit. Okay.
I guess one of us will have to.
Alma mater. We learn something new every day on this pod.
Period.
Okay. Anyway, we went to the same alma mater, so I'm very excited to see more people that look like you, like, influencing the culture that comes from that school.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. If you've listened to us before, you know we usually start our episodes off with a fun fact and a quick catch-up. But this week, I have decided that I'm so sick of getting on this fucking mic every week and saying, like, Lex goes, Court, how are you? And I'm like, bitch.
She's not going to say the real answer.
No, I never do. I'm like, bitch, I'm fine. Or, bitch, I'm not fine, but I don't really want to talk about it. And I'm sick of that. I'm so tired. So,
and that's okay. So change is needed.
Change is needed.
When you get tired.
Yes. I'm so tired of speaking negatively on my week. It's fucking Sunday. I don't want to start off like that. Yeah. So I've changed it to, let's talk about our pleasure moment of the week. So every week, I'm just going to ask you, bitch, what was your pleasure moment? And you can tell me, out of all the 7 days that you had to experience life, what was the most pleasurable moment that you took? Whether it's for yourself, with someone else, something you did for something, somebody, or something. Doesn't matter. Just your pleasure moment.
My pleasure moment. Let me see. Oh, my biggest pleasure moment is getting a job this week. That brought me an immense pleasure to say, like, I am employed once again.
Yes.
And it gave me less to stress about for my last 4 days of not actually working. So that was really cool. And it's something sort of like clerical, which is great to add to my resume because I'm really trying to get a work from home kind of situation. And if I'm in this bitch for 6 months working from home, I mean, working in an office, setting appointments and stuff, all of that, babe, just hire me to sit at my house and do it. Yeah. And like they had an at-home clause in our handbook, so I'm like, maybe I can just talk them into letting me go. Right. But the pay's good, benefits are good, hours are exactly what I wanted, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Lunch paid, like I get an actual lunch break. Excuse me. Whoa, I don't have to stand up while customers are coming in while I'm trying to eat. My food's not gonna get cold. It's crazy.
How do you feel about like transitioning from retail?
I mean, customer service is customer service. Yeah. Either way, I'm gonna be like dealing with people and like making sure that they're set and they're happy and everything. Yeah. So to me, it's all the same thing. It's just a different environment. And it seems like a lot of Black women work there. My trainer is a Black woman. She emailed me on Google and her little picture showed up. I was like, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
This is okay.
Yeah, and then one of the other people that were CC'd in the email was also a Black woman.
That's dope.
I was like,
dope.
I was like, that makes me feel a lot better about it. But like the interview went really well. The guy was really, really cool. So, and he was like, first week is business casual, and then after that, it's pretty casual. And I was like, yeah, it's doing it. It's doing it.
I love to hear that.
Because I hate business casual. I hate it so much. Like, what you need me to wear slacks for? I'm about to be sitting down all day.
Yeah,
right.
You're not even gonna see my fit. You're gonna see my fit when I get here, when I leave, and when I go on lunch.
And in the summer, it'd be hot as a motherfucker.
And why don't you want me to look like it? You don't want it to be a competition. I'm hotter than you, and you're scared.
Bitch.
That's all I'm hearing. When they're like business casual, somebody's not hot in that office.
I personally would love to see those titties in a button up. Okay, it's giving.
I'm gonna tell you, Corey, they don't work in a button up because the button is like so.
Just want to stick my finger.
It's so stretched and so like tension. Filled with tension. I'm like, I'm breaking dress code by wearing the dress code because I have titties and ass.
It just comes with it.
Yeah, sorry. It's hard being a bad bitch.
It is. It is. Yeah. I'm really excited for you. I'm so glad.
That's dope. That.
Thanks.
Robin, do you have a pleasure moment of the week?
Yeah, so I actually went to New York.
Ooh, we just got back.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's crazy.
Right, yeah. So I went to New York. I got to see my boo.
Love.
Yeah.
Shout out to the boo.
Period. And so it was dope. Honestly, like it was good vibes because it was raining.
Ooh.
So that was just an excuse to stay in the house. You feel what I'm saying?
I ain't trying to walk nowhere.
Right. And so that was dope. Like, just kind of getting a break too before doing this last stretch. And so it kind of gave me energy to come back.
Yeah.
And be like, I got a family to feed. You know what I'm saying?
What'd you say? What's the song, Courtney?
I can't hustle.
Yeah.
My kids can't eat.
Yeah.
Period. Right. So, yeah, that was good. Like, just getting a little bit of energy and stuff before I come back. So, that was definitely my pleasure moment for real.
I love it.
Okay, that's lovely.
What about you, Courtney Noir?
I would say my pleasure moment was probably last Sunday before we potted. So,
Oh, we're counting that.
because it was a crazy week. It was eclipse week.
was a
I feel
really
like
crazy.
so this is my only piece. Okay.
That's okay, Biggs.
When we got back from New York, I slept all day.
Courtney
and then,
slept all day.
And then Sunday, I pretty much, other than the podcast, slept all day, and it was just so beautiful. I was buddied up with my little nigga, and we were just watching Netflix, watching scary movie reviews, and smoking and sleeping, and it was like so fucking nice. It was just so nice and peaceful. That was my pleasure moment of the week.
Love it.
You guys, if you have a pleasure moment of the week you'd like to share with us, you can comment in the comments. Okay, thank you. All right, so now we can move on to our fun fact this week. And May is a really important month of the year. It's masturbation. Especially for T-Pay. It's masturbation May, y'all. So that means every day, I want to see you on your Zoom, okay? You need to pull out your vibrators, pull out your wands, bitch. Every night, it's about you.
Don't lose the chargers either.
Don't.
Right.
You could just be losing chargers like nobody's
I just had to. I spent like maybe 10 minutes yesterday trying to find the charger that would work to the womanizer because I lost my womanizer charger and Caitlin lost hers and she was asking for mine. So I found a charger that worked for it and I had to give it to her yesterday. But I'm like, who is stealing all these motherfucking chargers?
Damn.
Have you ever turned on a toy and like had it used for like maybe 5-10 seconds and then it just dies? Or worse, you use it for a while and then you let it come and then it just dies.
My Lord DeCarlo Bacci, I can very literally tell if I can get one more orgasm out with the battery. And even though I know I can't, I still try anyway. And then I'd be pissed off because I'm like, God damn it, now I gotta use a regular vibration.
Or your hands? How?
Me and my hands don't work like that for me.
Really?
The only time my hands work for me now is if someone else is also doing something with their hands.
Okay. I see what you're
Someone
saying.
else is always doing something, that will do it for me for sure.
Okay.
But just me, no.
I like an old-fashioned wang from time to time.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when I use toys, it kind of oversensitize things. So, you know, especially when I'm by myself, I like to edge, baby. And we'll have another maybe detailed conversation about this next week from Masturbation May. Who knows? But about, you know, how to masturbate. But that's how I like to do it.
Yeah.
I prefer toys when I'm in action with somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
I'm usually like toys by myself. We don't have to use toys. We genuinely don't have to. If you want to, I'm packing them. I'm
Always. You got the backpack.
Yeah, I got the backpack, exactly. But like, if it's just me, I have my one that I really, really love using, and maybe like a penetration something occasionally. It's usually a glass one, but
Love that.
I love the glass.
Right.
I
like
glass.
the toys. I like the toys. I feel like it's really big, especially if you're in a long distance relationship.
Do you guys have those Bluetooth ones?
We don't.
Okay.
But you know what? But you know what I hate? What happened just the other day is that she's using a vibrator, and I'm like, you know, because you got to get the verbal on, right?
Yeah.
And then the vibrator dies.
No.
And she's like, pause. Let's put 15 minutes before we can start back again. So it's a little difficult. Me, I like the hands. The vibrator is a little too much for me.
That's understandable.
It's a little too intense. Yeah. I like tried to do the whole rose thing.
Oh,
that's the devil. That's the devil.
No. And I always say my main complaint with the rose is that there's no low, medium, high.
No.
It's only high in a pattern, high in a different pattern. Okay, here's a pulsing, but it's high.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no build-up for it.
It's not. Yeah, I'm not fucking with it.
So, you know, you said you aren't, but considering you're in a long-distance relationship, would you be open to something like Bluetooth toys where you're using it on your app and then, you know, she can do whatever she's doing up there?
Yeah.
I'm
They
trying
have
to
those-
come in the store one of these days.
No,
I'm gonna get you.
I'm trying to. No. You know what? And I've been thinking about ways like how do you spice it up?
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is my first like real long distance relationship.
New York is a long way, too.
Yeah.
It's a long fucking way.
I also think like having like like date night where like both of you go out to a restaurant, you're on FaceTime through the whole night, and you literally go through the night like, you know, like, okay, let's go dinner and a movie or dinner and an activity. Like literally go do that on FaceTime the whole time, then go home and wrap it up.
You know
dessert,
what?
You know?
We need to try that.
Yeah.
We need
Like
to try
literally
that.
Add it to your list.
Y'all need to go grocery shopping, schedule the same day to go grocery shopping and FaceTime at the same time.
So it feels real.
Yeah.
How long have y'all been
I'm
together?
sorry. When I was in high school, that was me. Long distance, like consistent.
Are you somebody who likes to be on the phone constantly?
No.
I do like to be on the phone. Why is that such a lesbian thing to do?
No. I'm like, if you want to be on the phone, we can be on the phone, but like, I'm not like.
But you know what? I feel like both of our jobs are like, we have our own routine.
Yeah.
So we're just like, hey, what's up? So what's so crazy is that we just recently started dating, but we've been knowing each other for 10 years. We share the same best friend, and we're also the godparents to the same kid.
I love it. Friends to lovers.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. We had to break that down to our best friend. Like, hey, you actually made the right decision by making both of us godparents.
Yeah.
Because now the kid can come to the same home. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's been definitely an interesting few months, exciting, because I feel like we've been around each other for years. And now we find ourselves looking at old pictures like, you was really on me the whole time.
Like, y'all have always felt this way.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, so we're looking at these old pictures of us going to Miami for our friend's bachelorette party. And we're in the club. I'm like, you're all up on me. You've been.
It's been like this.
It's been, so. Right. So, I had to get my shit together. And then, now we here.
Yeah.
So that's dope for real.
I think having all that time and then being where you are now sort of, I feel like in some aspects it probably makes it easier, like navigating the relationship. Because like, I didn't know you for a decade, so like you doing all this extra shit.
Exactly.
I already know what this is.
I already know what this is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna catch you in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it was no put on at all. We'd already seen each other.
Yeah.
We'd already seen each other super drunk. We'd already seen each other, mad, upset, so it was really like once you started dating, it just kind of flowed for real.
I love that.
Yeah.
So how was the news like when you broke that to your best friend? Like, because I don't know, like, that's a lot. If there are 3 best friends, and that's very Lizzie McGuire,
Right. What's so crazy is that she told our best friend first, and I didn't know that she was liking me like that.
Yeah.
So we were just talking, we were just talking. We had been talking a lot. So then she we're always voice noting. She sends me this text message with a whole bunch of red alarms. She's like, I'm about to say something just to prepare you.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I like you. And I'm like, damn, we got to tell our best friend. God damn, what we going to say? Right?
Damn, what we going to tell her?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Right? So, at first she was a little weirded out by it because she's like, oh my gosh, like y'all are both like family to me. Yeah. Like, what is going on? But, she kind of got on board. She had to, get off like the uneasiness of it. But it's crazy because, we've all just been family for so long that I think that she gets it. She's like, when I look at both of y'all, I'm like, okay, this is clearly obvious that y'all would like each other. But it took a little bit. It took a little bit because she was like, I don't want y'all to go right off and forget about where the friendship started. Yeah. And so, that's always like, it's a difficult transition. But what's interesting is that our best friend is married to my partner's cousin. So she actually helped her beat her mate. Wow. And they've been together now for 11, 12 years. Wow. And they met each other as a cousin. So I'm like, Connor, you know what it is.
Yeah, you know what it is.
You've been here before. You've been here before. So yeah.
That's going to be a really beautiful situation as y'all get older and everything,
Right.
Yeah, I love that. I'm sorry, y'all. Back to fucking Masturbation Bay, okay? I like talking to new people. I love having guests on the pod because, We really just be talking
It's
over
okay.
here.
Conversations be flowing. It's all good.
So today is actually National Masturbation Day.
Yes.
May 7th, 1995 was when it was established. And did you guys know that the reason we have Masturbation May is because of I don't know if she's gay, y'all. She's just black and a little mask presenting. But her name
So
is.
we're gonna say
So
she's
I
gay.
just assume
Yeah,
she's gay,
we're
but
just
I don't
gonna
know
say
because this was in the 90s. Who fucking knows? But her name was Jocelyn Elders. She was the 15th Surgeon General of the United States, a black woman.
Yeah.
And she was actually fired during the Clinton administration when she came out with like some controversial comments about how she believed that masturbation should be taught in schools to teach people about their bodies, teach people about their limits and their boundaries. And the Clinton administration wasn't having that, so they chucked her out. And then this adult store called Good Vibrations in '95 coined this day, May 7th, in honor of her and what she was pushing for as National Masturbation Day, which turned into Masturbation May, which we have now.
Yeah.
So we can
we got No Shave November. We might as well.
Right.
literally prostate cancer, masturbation, two very important things that everybody should be more aware about.
Yeah.
Okay. Masturbation is awesome. I'm really glad that a black woman brought this month into our labs.
You know,
that's
black
dope.
women just be doing everything.
They be doing everything. The source, okay?
Yeah.
The Madonna. I love it.
Right.
Okay, y'all. To get into our pleasure principle today, we'll be talking about queer reproductive justice. Now, I left myself an open outline. I have some things that we can always talk about, if we lose track. But I really want to just give you the floor for a second and have you just talk about what your dissertation really is about and like the research that you did on it.
Right. So I'm a reproductive justice scholar. Shout out to the Afia Center in Dallas. You know what I'm saying? That's my home base. Justice for Mila.
She came home last week, correct?
Right.
Yes, that's in my
After
outline.
putting that pressure on the city, they made it happen. But
so if you didn't know, just so everybody's aware, Mila Jackson is a newborn baby. I think she was born in April, at the beginning of April.
Yeah.
Right.
And she was taken away from her parents after she showed signs of jaundice. The parents did a birthing center birth or an at-home birth.
I was seeing that
with
on
a
Twitter.
midwife,
With the midwife. And so the midwife takes care of the baby as far as like the health, any minor health concerns after birth and shortly after birth, they take care of. So when they went to the doctor for it, their physician in Dallas actually reported them to the CPS.
right. And the CPS did not have a case. They unlawfully took Mila from her mother. And when they looked at the paperwork, it was somebody else's name. And so they tried to hide the baby in the system, but they got it on front page, Dallas Morning News. And all of a sudden, we have Mila, and Mila came back home.
Yeah.
And so
That's crazy.
yeah. Shout out to the Afia Center for holding it down.
Yeah.
And Dr. Cheryl, the midwife, for being a community member. But really, that's what reproductive justice is for real. It's the right to have a child. It's the right to not have a child. It's the right to bodily autonomy, but to also raise the child in whatever conditions you see fit. So what happens a lot of time when you hear about like the pro-choice movement, it really doesn't encompass reproductive justice, right?
Yeah.
So people got a problem if somebody got 10 baby daddies. That's reproductive justice. If you want to have 10 kids, you should be able to have the resources without killing yourself, without overworking, to have, medical care for all your kids, have access to equitable housing, a safe housing. And that's not what happens. So like if somebody's kid gets shot, that's a reproductive justice issue because you take away a parent's right to raise their child, right? And so reproductive justice it's about abortion, but it's also about having gender affirming care. It's also about pleasure, having the right to be able to learn about your body, whether that be through masturbation or having sex. It's the right to make decisions for yourself and then, not have to worry about if you're going to die the next day because you don't have access to the resources that you need. So basically, that's what I talk about in my dissertation. I interviewed different Black queer couples around the country who represent, all across the gender and sexuality spectrum in Black diaspora, and they talk about their experiences with me just coming into their sexuality, their gender expression, and also how some of those things have influenced their reproductive journey. So whether that be miscarriage, ectopic pregnancy, abortion, or not wanting to have a child, or their relationship between their spouse and how they choose to raise a child. And so kind of how I look at it is like, if we really want to fight for the reproductive rights of everybody, we have to look at the Black queer experience, we have to look at the Black trans experience, because if we address our needs, then we end up addressing everyone's needs.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much what I talk about in my dissertation. I take a popular media lens too. Have y'all seen Master of None?
Yeah, I saw the first season.
The what?
Master of None?
Master of None.
With Aziz Ansari, Lena Waithe.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a long time ago.
It's a long time ago.
Okay, yeah, I'm like,
It's
I don't
okay.
even know these people that you're naming.
It's
Aziz
okay.
Ansari?
You know Lena Waithe?
The Indian guy? Lena Waithe, the really annoying...
Yeah, she is annoying. She's
She's the tall mask. Go ahead.
You know, it's
Oh,
okay.
wait. I think I know what you're talking about. Is she a comedian too?
No, I know who you're talking about.
Oh, damn it. See, Courtney, I'm not good at this.
If you say she's
See, that's not even the one I was talking about. I
It's-
know who that is.
Okay.
But I was thinking of somebody.
no shade. It's not really relevant, to be honest. You know, I critique shows like that, but I basically look at popular media and how they talk about Blackness and queerness and having children, especially among Black queer people. And that happens to be the only show that's ever came out on popular television that shows two Black women loving women going through the assisted reproductive technology journey.
Because otherwise you got the L word.
Right.
But that's what your white people know.
Exactly.
That is like half white and her baby mama is white.
Right. And so we don't get to see that. But even though I critique that show too, right?
Yeah.
Because like they're pretty much damn near millionaires.
Yeah.
So it's like, and 40% of us live below the poverty line. So is that really like representation? You know what I'm saying? And so, I really just talk about that. And I kind of just challenge to think about, you know, if we looked at reproduction, if we looked at sex, we looked at justice, we looked at health from a Black queer lens, what we could learn.
Yeah. What's been something that like the most shocking thing that you've learned so far, like in this journey of like getting your dissertation together?
I feel like the most shocking thing, how much people really doubted the idea for real, right?
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, in real life, when you're like living real life like a real person outside of school, we know Black queer people exist and are doing their thing and having families and dating, but so much of that is not captured in research and academia. And so I remember when I said I wanted to do this study, the first question I got was like, why am I not interviewing white people, everybody?
Because that was a question that one of your
they have so much space everywhere. Like, and even when we look up research stuff for you hear mostly about white queer people or white straight people, and it's like, where's the Black experience coming in all these numbers?
hard.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like and even when I did it, they wanted me to do it my way, do it their way, which was like, you know, go on to this recruiting service and ask them. I'm like, I could call people, I could just go on social media and ask people who want to be a part of it. So I feel really just like it was a little bit of resistance of me doing it my way, but I feel like I wanted to just keep it real, how I talked about the experiences. And so, you know, it definitely is now more accepting, right? Because the project is here. But it took a little minute. But I think, you know, I wasn't really shocked by any of the content because it's like, damn, I know my experiences as a Black queer person just going through the healthcare system. But I did hear some like very disheartening stories just about, you know, people just really experiencing a lot of violence. You know, I interviewed someone who was, you know, formerly incarcerated and what that was like, having to be incarcerated after giving birth to their child, or people giving birth and you know, doctor leaving gauzes in them. You know, just
That's
What?
crazy.
This is somebody that you spoke to that had this experience.
That's insane.
right, and just or like even I think what was really helpful for me though too was just even getting to hear like the Black, trans, non-binary, and mass experience to giving birth, and getting to talk to people
that's
about
something that I only really see like pictures of on Twitter. I don't really see anything.
The
else,
aftermath.
Like,
Right.
But I love seeing trans men pregnant. I'm like, yeah, boy. You're like a
Yes.
seahorse, and I like it.
Yeah.
You're like a seahorse, and I like it.
Yeah. So yeah, that was dope.
So, out of the people that you spoke to, I don't know how many was your pool of people, but what was the percentage of like mask lesbians or trans mask people that are experiencing childbirth in any capacity, even if their partner is the one carrying?
So I spoke to 11 people total, and the interviews probably lasted anywhere between like an hour to 2 hours.
Okay.
And probably I would say 3 mask presenting folks. I would say half of them were non-binary.
That's awesome.
Some of them were non-binary but women presenting. So it was a good like population in it, and for me that was something that was really important for me, for that experience to be heard, because it's so different. Like I spoke to one person who's a black mass lesbian, and they live in Dallas. They had their baby at Baylor, and just kind of how they felt.
What was that
they were
experience?
being treated. Just going in there, one of the things they described is immediately, not wanting to talk to their partner as like, this is my actual partner. This is the person I want y'all to talk to.
That can make decisions for you.
Exactly. Because when you giving birth, you want somebody who can be there to advocate for you.
Yeah.
And so they talk about how like when they gave birth, as they were leaving out the hospital, the nurses pulled them to the side like, do you feel safe going home with your partner? Because I guess they feel like the partner was being too, quote unquote, aggressive with them during the birthing process. But they were forced into a C-section when they didn't want to. And that was also a journey that was something that they were wrestling with throughout their pregnancy. So one of the things I asked them is, how did they relate? When's the first time you looked at your body as something that could reproduce?
Yeah.
And, just from their experience, having to see their body change, from their hips getting wider to their butt getting bigger, their thighs getting bigger. And them already having, their relationship to body dysmorphia. And you get your pregnancy, and they say, they would keep pictures for themselves, but not wanting to have the pictures online. And then, but they were still very active. But then when they get to a hospital, their doctors testing them for gestational diabetes, and they test negative, and their doctors look at them like, there's no way. You don't have diabetes.
You're black and you're big.
You're getting bigger. So let me test you again one more time. And so just going through those experiences, and you look at that too, on top of being a part of like the trans mass experience of you already going through these challenges with your body and how you perceive it. And then you go to the hospital at a time where you should be cared for by your doctor. They should be asking you questions like, how do you feel? And then they're telling you like, you look like you got diabetes, like you're ill. Trying to find any way to make you feel lower than. And so it was hearing a lot of those experiences, especially from my more mass presenting partners. Like, I'm like, damn, It made me think about my experience. Like, I don't want to have children biologically. It's like, damn, I definitely don't now.
I always joke and say I want to have at least one biologically, but how much I say that I would not, if I gave birth to a male child, how upset I would be. And how many people have been like, you're going to have a boy, watch. I'm like, all of you are sealing the envelope that I will never be biologically.
Just out of the chance.
Just because too many people have wished it on my uterus, I'm not doing it.
Well, once this podcast blows the fuck up, right, bitch?
Period.
And you have the unlimited resources, you can get a little designer baby. Okay. You can make sure the embryo's a girl.
Right.
I would love to see what that is.
I'm just saying, I would love to be pregnant, but if I give birth to something that has more rights than me, I'm going to be so pissed off.
No, not you, like, being resentful of the baby when it comes. Bitch.
So pissed.
That experience, that especially the gauze being left in them, it doesn't surprise me at all. I'm sure that
it's like the copper when they ask to get their tubes tied, they put the copper, they leave the copper or something in there, and that's what happens.
It's just the attention to detail that I feel is never there for black people in general, and then on top of that, them being black and queer and black and masked. Out of all those things, that's a lot for. It's not a lot, but it's a lot for people to understand.
To wrap their minds around.
And to accept for some odd reason, even though they're still human beings.
Yeah.
So, we live in Texas, and it's a really shitty place here.
Hot ass mess.
Oh my fucking God.
Like emphasis on the hot.
It's a hot fucking mess. One of the things I found online about Black women in particular was from here in Texas, and I think it was on Axios. Harris County has a record of in 2020, 58.6 deaths per 100,000 live births. Right? That doesn't sound like a lot, but that's not including Black women. 58% was 29% was white women. Black women had 69.9%.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah, that's
I think
that's
we're
what
like
it is.
50. I think we're like 58% more likely to die
Yes.
during childbirth than
A white person.
than just about any other race, which is just, you know, my number one reason to also not give birth to children biologically, because it's not like our medical system can make sure that nothing happens.
If Beyonce almost died from childbirth, if Serena Williams almost died from childbirth, they really do not give a fuck.
Yeah, I recently started watching the show on Amazon Prime about the twins. Is based off a David Cronenberg thriller, Dead Ringers. It's called Dead Ringers. Rachel Weisz plays twins, and they are OBs, and they're trying to open their own private practice to have safer practices for women, especially women of color. And there's this one episode where, you know, she's checking on this Black woman because, you know, she notices she went from being like lively to like super lethargic, and she's like laying in her bed and she's saying that she has a pain in her stomach after a C-section. And so, you know, she goes in to check on her and she's like, okay, I'm gonna order a CT for you right now, blah, blah, blah. Then her actual nurse, who is a white woman, comes in on her phone, literally just scrolling on her phone, puts it in her pocket and was like, I got it. And then Rachel Weisz's character was like, you need to order her a CT. She's having pain. That could be this, this, and this. She's like, yeah, I got it. Literally not even 30 minutes later, this Black woman is like bled out to death on her bed. And when the nurse who failed to get the CT is like telling her husband like why she died, he's like, I already know why she died. Like, I already know. Because like how often that actually happens to Black women is like so large, is like insane. And not like
Comes
I don't know,
from physicians, nurses, staff just not listening to
or
the
just
pain.
even it makes me think of that one study that I saw on Twitter too, that was like there was like they asked people in some university like, on a scale, do you feel like Black people experience the same pain as white people? And like more than half the nurses were like, oh, Black people don't experience pain at all, or they experience less pain than most people. And it's like, just because we pull up with the most shit, like we're still human. And that's literally our main thing that we try to get everybody to see.
Right. Most of our issues that we experience in healthcare are systemic, you know? So it's like a circle. It's like what we experience in our environment leads into our health, and then our physicians and our doctors don't want to hear us. And so the situation gets worse and it perpetuates, and it's just a really terrible cycle. Yeah. Right. And I feel like it is one of the reasons, like you said, like I'm nervous about like having kids.
But you know what? That's why we have great places like the Afia Center.
Yeah,
in
you
Dallas,
know what I'm saying?
Texas. Is that the only Black owned birthing center here?
Only Black women owned and led Reproductive Justice Center in North Texas. And
the
so,
Afia Center.
And they've been around for 15 years. AFIYA Center. You can find them on Twitter, Instagram.
I'll put the link in the bio as well.
And it's like one of those things. That's why I feel like we got to stop dependent on the healthcare system. Yeah. You know, I'm an abolitionist at heart. So it's like, fuck the healthcare system. You know what I'm saying? Black people have been given birth safely without the healthcare system for centuries, right? So even when we look at the history of C-sections, that started with us giving C-sections outside of the hospital. And so I advocate for the use of doulas. One of my goals this year is to get trained as a full spectrum doula, and to have midwives. And that's why Justice for Mila Jackson was so important too, because it was an attack on the parents making a decision to raise their child.
Traditional
either. Exactly. So it's like, you know, we need to support our midwives, we need to support our doulas and our reproductive justice centers, and we need to have our babies outside of the healthcare system.
I feel like it's still like very rooted in white supremacy.
Right.
Like even when we went to the sex museum and seeing the gynecological tools and the little excerpt of them saying like, this was used on black women with no anesthesia, just trying to figure out whether or not it would work. Like, and that's even me seeing like a thread recently where it's like showing all the different things where it's like, did you know that the only reason a pap smear is a thing is because they've literally just been testing all this shit on black women.
Modern gynecology is based off of our bodies.
Exactly.
But it completely annihilates and erases us now. It's crazy.
Right. And then we also get the least amount of the care, even though...
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's like, go to your... I was just at the center a week or so ago getting my STD, STI panel.
They do that?
Period.
At the AFIA Center?
Yeah, so they...
Hold on now.
Wait,
Did y'all hear this? Y'all can get STD testing at the AFIA Center.
Right.
I need to know what insurance they take.
Okay, look. So they have clinics. At the end of the day, like, you won't be turned away, right?
Yeah.
So, they want you to use health insurance if you have it. But this is a space that you won't be turned away. There's even someone who was pregnant who was able to get all of their testing done and come in. So, it's like not a center. This not one of... no shade. This ain't one of them. This not Planned Parenthood. No shade. I fucks with Planned Parenthood. But I'm saying sometimes we have to go to places that are even more grassroots, right? Yeah. Because I went to Planned Parenthood, tried to get STD, STI panel, and they told me, "Hey, we don't take your insurance. It's gonna be like $300 for you to get everything." Yeah. And so sometimes that's not even an option. And so, especially as a lot of these organizations like Planned Parenthood are being defunded, there's always a way, even at a AFIA Center, at the end of the day, I don't care what none of the laws are saying in the state of Texas. If you want to have an abortion, you can have an abortion. That's just what it is. We're going to make sure you have a safe and effective abortion. But there are always other alternatives to your reproductive health outside of going a traditional route. Yeah. And they want to scare you and make you feel like it's not as safe or that you're not going to be treated with care. Yeah. I took 2 of my homegirls with me. Like, hey, we all getting our STD, STI panel. Yeah. They let us do our swabs ourselves for our vaginal swabs. Even that kind of having that autonomy of being able to provide my sample myself.
Oh, and I was just thinking this whole time we've been talking about this. This past week I went to an OB. It's a place called V-Care in Carrollton, I think. And it was an office ran by like Middle Eastern individuals. And like, the women at the front were super, super nice. I do not fault them whatsoever, but I will never be returning to that office ever again. Like I felt like a lab rat like in the office, and like as a person who already has like a lot of anxieties about going to the doctor because of all of my experiences being very similar to the one I just had is the main reason. But like, they call you back, and usually when they call you back, they greet you, they ask you how you're doing. She literally calls me back and just keeps walking down the hallway. I follow her to a room. They start taking my weight and my height and everything. And they leave the door open while they're doing that. And then there's just these 2 guys waiting for the bathroom right there. So I'm feeling real weird because there's 2 guys standing right there. I'm getting weighed. And the only time they closed the door was when they were asking me questions on my sexual health. And then, they moved me to the examination room. Still, no one's really saying anything to me. They're not, okay, cool, looks good. They're literally just asking me questions, telling me where to stand, and writing stuff down. Like, that's literally it. Very impersonal. And then, like, the doctor comes in, also super impersonal. And I was like, I haven't had medical insurance for a while. I just got insured. I would like to see about getting tested for, like, endometriosis, fibroids, PCOS, like, all of that. I listed all of that. And she was like, well, we only really do that for people who have irregular periods or they're having, like, severe pelvic pain. And I said, okay, well, I'm just trying to make sure I'm good. So, I just want to get looked at anyway. And she was like, well, you can always look up a gynecologist. And I said, yes. And I said, so you can't give me a referral? And she was like, oh yeah, I guess we could do that. And then like she leaves again. And mind you, no one's knocking before they come into my room either. Everyone's just busting right in, walking right in. I'm sitting there ass naked. Everyone's just busting right in. There's a second nurse there. I don't know what she's there for. Don't know who she is. Don't know if she's training. Don't know if she's observing. I don't know. There's just this extra person that's continuously in the room. And then like when the doctor comes and she's doing my pap, she, usually I've gotten 1 pap smear before because they're like, you only need 1 every 3 years, whatever. So, she's doing my pap, and my first pap was very enjoyable. Not enjoyable, but like it was pleasant. And I went to a Planned Parenthood and got it. But this one, she didn't even, she didn't tell me, okay, I'm going to insert it now. This is what I'm doing. When I tell you she just grabbed the speculum and just shoved it in my cooch, opened it. I'm like, she's still talking to me, like asking me, she asked me something. I'm just like super uncomfortable. And then she rips it out. And I'm like, okay, And she's like, are you good? I'm like, I'm uncomfortable. And then she just shoves her fingers also. And it's just like pressing and pressing. And it was just really, really uncomfortable. And like even me asking for a hormone panel to see if I can get on a birth control that went with my hormones versus you just giving me some random birth control. I would rather that. I would rather you pick something that works best for me. And even when she gave me my birth control, I didn't get a sheet on how to take it.
No instructions.
No, these are the side effects you could expect. Like nothing. They literally just handed me a box of birth control and was like, all right, here's your sample box. Have fun. And then they're like, well, and then she did give me a reference, but it's also another like Indian person. And it's like, I have nothing against them, but if this is how the experience is going to be, the doctor doesn't say anything to me. The nurses don't say anything to me. I had a fat bruise on my arm from her taking my blood. Mm-hmm. And I literally, and she was like, you didn't drink any water today? And I was like, I just told you, you guys moved my appointment a day early. So I haven't had breakfast. Oh, are you fasting? No. And then when I said, she said, do you currently have an STD? And I said, no. She's like, have you ever been treated for an STD? And I said, no. And she said, wow. And I was like, wow.
That's crazy.
What does that mean? And then she asked me if I have ever been, how many pregnancies have you had? And I said, none. And she said, really? And I was like,
wow.
I'm never coming back here.
You know what? That's so real, though.
I'm never coming back here. I'm like, what do you mean, wow? What do you mean, really?
That's what they do. That's what
really what they do.
That's what they do. Yeah. I remember I tried to get like STI, STD panels a lot. And as soon as they would be like, do you have sex with men? And my answer is no. It's like, oh, your risks are low anyways. We don't want to start there. Yeah.
As if STDs don't exist in the queer community or lesbian community specifically.
Exactly. I just also think that like the whole thing with Black women, like we're supposed to, one, you're expecting me to be overtly sexual in an unsafe way. Mm-hmm. Right. You're already expecting that I'm being unsafe. Mm-hmm. And then you're also already expecting that I've also procreated already just because, and it asked me when the last day I had sex was, and it was that morning. So I put the same day, and I'm like, what's up with that even? Like, it's I don't know. It's making you feel like they already expected you to be all these things. And
hearing this experience, and when you told me that the other day, I was really, really upset because I am in the healthcare field. I've been in the healthcare field since I graduated from college. So I'm very aware of how things are supposed to go. I interned at an OB for 2 summers. So I'm very familiar with the fact that you are supposed to let people know, hey, I'm inserting a speculum. Hey, here's how this is going to go. There's a level of person. That's actually really crazy.
And it was one of the plastic disposable ones.
Like, they didn't use any lube?
Because usually when you use the lube, it's cold, isn't it?
Don't go to V-Care. Not necessarily, but sometimes.
But I mean, yeah.
Don't go to V-Care, guys, because that shit sounds awful.
Right,
okay?
Right.
But
I literally was like, I'm never going back.
I have personally had very great experiences with doctors, and that's why I feel like I'm always pushing my friends and my partners to go to the doctor, because for some reason that I just always surround myself with people that have bad experiences in healthcare.
Wait, pause. Have you also always had access to good insurance?
Right, and that's my point.
Okay,
yes,
because
I have always, from my parents' job to my job, I have never had a lapse in insurance that required me to go to any.
Don't be a grad student.
Not working at all.
Yeah, but it's because you also, I'm guessing, have had like also really good health insurance.
That's what I'm saying.
So
yeah,
you have access to really good and caring doctors.
Good doctors.
Yeah,
but. Shit, bitch, I forgot my point.
You surround yourself with people.
Oh yeah. So I'm always like pushing how important access to healthcare is, but whenever I hear stories like this, I'm like, damn, bitch, I understand why you wouldn't want to fucking go to the doctor, because the whole experience, none of that experience made any sense to me.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm really sorry that you had to go through that. And I know that you are like in the majority, especially of Black women, Black queer people. It's very upsetting. And you know what I say to that? And it's not always accessible, so I hear myself. Find a Black doctor, find a Black physician in network.
Right, in network.
That's just
in
so
network.
Hard.
And it is hard.
It's hard.
Sometimes it's impossible.
Yeah.
So I understand that. I think all my doctors are Black except for my OB right now, and I've had her since I was 16, and I've never had an issue with her, so I stay with her. But going in to see all my Black doctors, my Black dentist, my Black physician, I'm I feel a sense of like I'm cared for here. I'm cared for. They understand the nuances of my life. I have never been made to feel like you in a healthcare setting, and I couldn't imagine what that's like.
Right. And that's why also like going to your local RJ center is good. I had the similar experience as you where I go to them to give me referrals to who does everyone else go to? Because similarly, I'm like, am I having symptoms of fibroids? Like, my mom had...
Black women.
Yeah. My
like
mom
60%.
had fibroids at my age, too. Especially now, like, about to enter into my 30s. Mm-hmm. And, that also can be a good place for you to find referral networks. They gave me a couple people to check out. One of them is a Black OBGYN in Dallas. And so... even if you just need to talk to other people about who I should go to, who's going to be able to, treat me safely. The FIA Center does also have Black trans representation there who work there. And so if you're looking for gender affirming care as well, but it's so difficult to get that. In my experience, has been similar to Lex of just like going places and feeling completely violated.
Like you just feel like a lab rat. Like you're like literally when I tell you that when they were just coming in and just writing stuff down and not saying anything to me, and when there were 3 nurses in my room and she's about to lift up the thing, I'm like, I literally said, so are there more people? Is there more people in here for a reason? Oh, she's just the nurse. Like it's fine. Bitch. And I'm like, is it fine though? And I know that they have to have a nurse in there when they do your
they do.
And everything.
But they always introduce everybody. And when I was a student going into those areas, the first thing the doctor would say, hey, are you comfortable with a student here that's I'm just educating her. Yeah. She's going through the process. She won't be touching anything. No. Yes or no. And if they say no, I would leave.
And like usually like when I was younger, I was in and out of the hospital quite frequently. And like I remember them asking like my mom those things like when I was sick. But it's just like now it just doesn't happen that way, which is why I avoid the doctor, because I have so much anxiety around going to the doctor, because almost every time I go, my experience is very similar to that. And I think the only like actual positive thing that I felt was probably when I donated bone marrow. And even though like all of the doctors my main surgeon was an African guy. Okay. But either way, like that whole experience was super smooth. Everyone, like, if I said I was in pain, somebody's on it like immediately, so that was like the only experience that I had where I truly felt like the medical professionals around me were actually there to listen and also help me. But other than that, most of the time when I go to the doctor, even the dentist, even the optometrist, like it just doesn't feel the same. Like I still feel like you're just doing this because you have to and not because I need it.
Right.
Yeah.
Black people don't have as much access to insured healthcare or insurance or safe, accessible healthcare. Mm-hmm. And I know if you're experiencing that from day one through the day that you get pregnant, and then now you're pregnant and you're going to the hospital to give birth,
right?
All these things that weren't addressed, that you don't know what's happening in your own body, that the doctor doesn't have any records for, that he can't pull up in fucking Epic or whatever. How it makes sense as to why the maternal mortality rate specifically for Black women is so much higher. And it's, how do we fix that? It's a systemic thing. But with Greg Abbott as our governor, who's continuously taking away rights for women, and especially women of color and trans people and queer people, how do we solve this issue? And I know you're writing your dissertation about it, but you can't fix the world.
Right. We can't.
I just feel like we should start taking kneecaps, okay?
No, honestly, for real. Like
collecting them.
First, I think like it starts with conversations like this and people sharing their experiences, because then you realize that how much of your experience is connected to other people.
Yeah. But also having people like Courtney who are like,
this is the way it should be, bitch.
Like,
they not doing that shit right.
What do you mean your doctor does this? I think also having people around that are like, that something's not right there, especially if you have been experiencing it in a negative light, is also really good.
Right, because one of the things that, came up in my dissertation is like what we talk about is like, even if you do have insurance, the system is so complex to navigate that you end up still delaying your care longer. And so I think a lot of it is, we cannot depend on the government. And I know it's like, and then also if we also have to make sure that in the meantime of us finding outside resources, that we are being what we call reproductive justice voters, right? So we just had our mayoral elections.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you have, one of the things that we talk about is looking at some of the bills that did come up recently, just legislative wise for Texas, is covering doula care, getting doula reimbursement, right?
Yeah.
So looking out for policies like that, if you can see who are the representatives. So one of the parts that we do at the AFIA Center is we were just at the Capitol a few months ago talking to legislators about doula reimbursement, Medicaid expansion. And so one of the biggest things that Black people are affected in Dallas by is living with HIV. Yeah. So making sure we have adequate HIV testing, that we are also voting for those things. Sometimes I know on a presidential federal level it can feel so far reach, but these local elections are really important to us getting the immediate resources that we need that can help us expand our healthcare access and resources. And so I think that's just some of the ways becoming an RJ voter. If you don't know what an RJ voter is, go to the AFIAcenter.com, look up what RJ voter is. They have free trainings over it where they'll talk about these are the most important legislative bills that we should be looking at right now. And then also, like you're saying, like if you do know someone who is experiencing great care, passing on that information, even if you start keeping a little notebook of, I had a good experience with this person, let me write their name down. But it also means that we have to have conversations. Like a lot of times we can get on Twitter and we can say like, I'm pro-abortion, I'm pro-access, but are you like that in your interpersonal lives? Do you talk to your partners about these issues, your friends about this issue, your parents, your family? And so making sure that you're advocating in your personal relationships as well. Yeah.
I will say, I think like, I feel like if in school, I just feel like in school, there's a lot of subjects that should be like considered priority, as in like, we're over here doing statistics and stuff, but tell me about voting. Tell me about my legislation, not in like a history thing. There's a Senate, there's a state, there's a House, all of that shit. I feel like they don't want you to know that. They don't want us to know all that shit. And that's the thing, because like when it came to me being in high school, if I would have gotten a whole class on like, okay, when voting, yes, it's important for you to vote for a president, but all these people, like the president doesn't have all the power. He's just the tiebreaker. That's all that nigga is.
I have a friend that's involved in Texas government. Yes. So between him and my mother, I feel like I've always been very active in local elections, and I be on these niggas, and I mean niggas in the literal sense, because none of my partners ever want to fucking vote. But like I tell them all the time, like you don't understand how important on a local level, like the things we're voting for yesterday, we'll see in 3 years. And it doesn't seem like it's important, but it's so important. These presidents, like you said, they're not doing nothing. Those are the big decisions that it'll take 10, 15 years for us to feel these effects. But we're feeling these effects in our backyard today, tomorrow. Right. Do you personally want insurance for you to get your gender affirming care tomorrow? Get out there and motherfucking vote.
Especially because they have so many of these laws that are going in effect like
immediately 6 months later.
Literally, even the stuff in Missouri going in effect on April 27th, like things like that. Like in these bills, they put for them to start like pretty quickly after it's been announced, because they want to nip it in the bud before it gets like 3 years from now, and people are like, okay, wait, this isn't right,
Right. And I know that it can be difficult, because I would even admit for myself, like I was not someone who voted at all at first, and I was like, I think I'm pretty well educated as they go, but I just really didn't feel like it mattered, or it would matter what I voted for.
I think the government makes you also feel like
for sure.
So it's hard to actually.
Because I'm sure have you seen any kind of social media push, any kind of sign or billboard in Dallas saying that the election was this week?
No. And that's the thing. Like, if you didn't know, and that's how I got
in. I didn't even know the election.
Exactly. That's how I got in the conversation, is really just getting informed about, if I wouldn't have been in the reproductive justice conversation and being around people who like are every day looking at what's going on, I probably wouldn't have known anything about the elections or how it was important. I didn't even think, I still have a Michigan driver's license. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I didn't even know I could vote. I could get registered to vote here.
Yeah.
And then having people inform me on that and letting me know. And so, yeah, they are not going to tell you that information. And that's why as a community, we should stay connected to these centers. If not just, these are the people who are going to do the research for you, going to get the information for you.
That's also how, like, the people who are so against, like, reproductive rights, gender affirming care, like, everything like that, that's how they get into office, is because
they know all this shit.
They know that
they know the back end.
They know niggas don't know. They know that niggas don't know. So
Right.
they're like, you know what? It's gonna be fine because these niggas don't know anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is how I feel like they get in office most of the time, because you see how niggas was voting for Obama.
Yeah.
Niggas came out of nowhere. I ain't voted since '79. Niggas in there voting for that black ass. Okay, voting. Loyally, you know, but
Yeah.
is that like there is community within us. I just think that people want to appease white people so badly that it's hard to have community.
But
when
also,
there's
people
that
are wrapped
too.
up in their own lives, you know.
That too,
like
yeah.
when you are fighting for your life, when you are
Yeah.
fighting for your child's life every day,
You're not worried
you
about
do
that
not
shit.
have the time to get up and vote. You don't have
Yeah.
the time to do your research about what this person is and who this person isn't, or what sex scandal happened with this person yesterday.
Right.
Nah, you trying to fucking put food on your table. It's just such a difficult conversation because there's not really, like, I know we can't sit here and solve this shit today.
Yeah.
But I want
Yeah.
to.
There's not like a common ground of like solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
On how to like move forward so that way everybody is like
You just put
taken care of.
you put your energy, you put your money and your resources into
Right.
places and centers like the AFIA Center that are doing, like you said, doing the work for you, you know?
Exactly.
And then you ride on their back and you say, I'm here to support. And I'm very excited to do some research
'Cause
about
I'm about
AFIA
to
Center.
go-
And then,
I-
and then try to figure out how we can volunteer.
As soon as I get home, I'm about to figure
Hey,
out.
look, you could become a volunteer. You know, I'm
Yeah.
an avid volunteer. We always need help, even if it's like putting up chairs, doing anything. Like just recently, about a couple weeks ago, they even did like a play where it talked about, you know, Black futures, a future of reproduction based off of stories of Black people in Dallas, you know, both who are queer and not. And they talked about a lot of these experiences. So they try to communicate it through visual arts, through trainings, through, they took 50 Black people to the Capitol. And all of these events are free. They show documentaries, you know, bring in Black, you know, directors and writers. And so we always need support. They have an in-house doula and midwife collective that's always looking to support parents or people who are looking to be parents. And so always accepting volunteers. It's a bunch of cool people, like
Love that.
everybody chilling, like you're gonna feel like home. It's
Do
probably
they do weekend stuff?
they do weekend stuff too. So I know a big event that we have coming up. I think it's in June or July. We'll have our HIV and AIDS event. And so it'll be, you know, we'll have food, games, like, and you can always just even pull up at the center if you just Google the AFIA Center or go to the AFIA Center on Instagram. It's stuff on the weekend.
Okay.
It's stuff during the week. But it's always work to be done. And it's like really people who really about that life and who want to make you feel safe, community, whatever. If you can draw, if you just want to put up a social media post, that's how Mila Jackson got home. Is the AFIA Center doing a press conference, people sharing a story. The next thing you know, refineries posting it. You know what I'm saying? So like, support can be in any direction. Volunteering could look any ways, but it's just about getting most of our voices in the conversation and more feet on the ground.
Yeah, there's more community than we feel like. I feel like, especially as Black people, because like society has it so much that it's us against them, or it's us against us kind of thing. You know, like that's very heavily pushed. But like, it's just like when you in public and some shit going on, who gonna be the first one to come help your Black ass? Somebody else's Black ass, okay? And it's just stuff like that. And I don't know, it's like, just like when you see a bunch of Black people running and all the niggas start running.
Right.
Okay, there's community within us. It's literally just like, also, it's just capitalism making us want to, we're in tears, you know?
Everybody's in competition.
You want to be in proximity to power based off whiteness.
Right.
You're not trying to be in power in like with the people that are just like you. Your version of power is being a rich white man, but you're Black. So it's just like,
Where are we going?
we gotta drop. We have to drop that because literally what they want us to be achieving for is whiteness, because that erases everything that we've been doing, everything we've been trying to build and everything, because it's like, I want them to be like me because look at all this shit I have.
Proximity,
Right, exactly.
sadness.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Y'all, if you're in the DFW area and you would like to get affiliated with FVA Center, visit the link that's in the description. You can message me or Robin or Lex, and we can help you get situated, because I'm very interested in this
I'm
shit.
literally about to go see
Yeah,
if they take
I'm
my
gonna
hand. That's what
I'm gonna invite y'all out.
Yeah.
The next time there's an event,
Yes, please.
I'm definitely gonna link y'all. They do clinics ever so often for the testing, but the next time it is, I'll definitely link y'all to it.
I just got my test too.
But so like, we going up. We going up at the FVA Center. Yeah.
I love that. I really, really, really love that.
This was a really great conversation. I just want to, we have a questions for the girls segment at the end. My first question, we kind of already answered for y'all, but we can answer it again.
Yeah.
So do you want to have a family? And if so, like, what would your avenue be to getting there?
So technically, yeah, I would like to have at least one. And I only say that because I love my niece, and like, I love my niece.
You're such
so
a good
much.
aunt.
That's my bestie. I love her so much. I just spent the weekend with her, and I just think that, like, if I can feel this way about my nieces and my nephews, then, like, I would make a great mom. Sometimes I'm with my nieces and nephews, and I'm like, dude, I would make a great mom. Like, I totally would. And I want that for me, but again, like, I want to be able to control where it goes, because also anytime I've dreamed of, like, myself having a family, it's always me by myself with, like, a support group around me and a baby girl. Every time. That is what my dream is. And like, in that aspect, if I can control it all the way up until those things, then absolutely. But of course, if my daughter grows up and wants to be my son, I ain't got no problem with that. I ain't got no problem.
I raised you to be a good person.
Listen.
Right.
You didn't already experience the world the way, and that's my thing, is like, I would love to bring somebody into the world that is gonna have a similar experience to me and give them the strength to go through it with more knowledge than I had, like, going through it myself. So
That's beautiful. I want you to have a baby.
Right. That's real.
I'm waiting.
okay.
One of y'all bitches gotta have a baby.
Okay, I don't think it's gonna be me first.
What about you, Robin?
I definitely want a family. I think, I don't want to biologically have children. And so, who knows what will happen, if my partner can have children. Hopefully that they can. I think one of the things that it really inspires me to want to be a full spectrum doula, just for my friends, but also for my family.
Yeah.
I picture like a village.
Yeah.
Right? I think a village is really important. So I want really just to have as many kids as possible. Okay, I'm not saying because it's actually about to say,
Okay, Nick Cannon.
we actually, the money is not looking that real, but I would love like 2 kids, but really just for them to be surrounded by like a village, and really, just have the support that they need. I'm trying to be up in the PTA meetings.
Yeah.
Giving Black queer realness.
I do really enjoy being rich auntie. I'm not gonna lie. And when I went and picked up my niece, and she was a car rider on this Friday, and we've decided that I'm gonna pick her up every Friday.
Okay.
And we're gonna spend every Friday night and Saturday morning together. But she saw me get out the car, and the way she ran and jumped 2 feet, and I was like, "What's up?" I love that. I just love that, And they're like, "I thought your mom was white." That's what they said to her. She's my auntie.
Kids are just the best. Kids would really just say whatever they fucking want to say.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Court?
I think I want kids, but I'm like how everybody is these days, where I only want kids if I have the complete resources to have those kids. I'm not trying to bring no baby in this world and be struggling any more than I'm already struggling as a single fucking woman.
Yeah.
Right.
But I want to make my parents, grandparents so bad, and I want to.
Dog, bitch.
And I want to raise a child with my family and my friends and my partner, whoever that is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know, bitch. I'm not a pessimist. I feel like I'm a realist.
Yeah.
And I just feel like how things are going, I don't really
There
know.
are certain things that like my aspirations for myself and my business and like things like that, I can be delusional that like everything's gonna be fine in
You're
that
right.
aspect.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to a kid, I think that it's good that we have these thoughts, because that means we see children as people with emotions and experiences, and not as like an accessory,
a commodity.
Because people will just be having kids for the sake of being in love, or for the sake of their seed, especially men, because all of you niggas think you're kings and you not doing shit. What what's
what are you giving this to?
And it might not be in Texas.
It might not be.
In Texas. I don't know. Texas is looking a little
spicy.
Yeah,
it's a little hot in here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we might have to move for that one, but yeah.
I hope you don't roll your eyes at me, but now that I'm dating like a trans person, a trans man, I just feel like now I have more autonomy, because I was with men. I was with cis men. So I always felt like, oh, if this shit happens on the dot, I just don't have a choice. But now I'm like, ooh, where I see my future going, I have a lot of intention behind having a child. So that makes me rethink about how I want to have a child, you know? And
we trying to change up all the way.
I love that she was like, you gonna roll your eyes.
Because I don't like to be showing my emotions.
But people need to support. I'm thinking even if I were to get married, instead of giving me a wedding gift, you need to pay for IVF. Drop a little money on the
IVF,
on the IUI. Drop that
$50,000, $75,000
on the co-payments for the doctor visits. Put money on that. We gotta really, if we gonna think about the future, we gotta think about if you really support your queer friends, your black queer friends, put some money on it.
My ex used to work for a company that specified in IVF treatment and delivering the medicines to the patients as they need them and stuff. And loners. It was very briefly. I mean, briefly once we started dating. After we
that's cool.
She stopped working. But I'd go to her house when she was working from home, and she would read me out how much it was costing people for only 3 injections out of 7 you have to take a week. And women on the phone deciding between whether they are going to take all their injections, or because it's too expensive because insurance is only going to cover a certain amount, whether they need to just ration or, do it some kind of different way, or the amount of women that also have gone through the process 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, how are you? But they're white women. So.
But you know what? I had black people like that in my interview. One person had to sell their car.
Oh my God.
They sold their car and they live in Atlanta.
Whoa.
Completely restructured the way that they live, stopped getting their nails done, their hair done.
Yeah.
Because they've spent already upwards of $50,000, $60,000.
Yeah.
And they have not had a child yet. Or, have had a child, then lost a child. So even that process, IVF, IUI is already expensive, and that's you hoping that
it's not even guaranteed.
Exactly.
Damn.
Yeah.
Y'all. I don't know what y'all gonna do to have your baby.
You ain't getting no babies out of this one.
I'm gonna go traditional. We gonna get a gay friend.
Yes.
Go ahead
in that bag.
Hey, yeah.
Turkey based throughout.
And I'm gonna put that hoe on a sex toy, and we'll make it work.
Yeah.
Free 99.
Right. Exactly. So we really go, fuck the doctor.
Yeah. It made me, whenever I think of artificial insemination, I do think of the first episode. I think it's the first episode of the original L Word. And Bet and Tina are trying to have a baby. And so she's going down on her, and she's right before she's going to have an orgasm, she had the syringe of sperm laying under her thigh to keep it room temp. And so she's eating her out, and she just basically injects her with it while she's orgasming, because it leads it to the
I'm trying to
these niggas is doing it.
You know how to
you was made out of love, bitch.
The dildos that squirt. I'm trying to figure out how you replace it. I'm trying to replace it with the sperm, with the semen.
So you can squeeze it in the ball.
King Cock has a syringe,
and you can
the thing that you get the snot out of a baby's nose. It is just like that, and it goes to the end. King Cock has a squirting dick. Mm-hmm. That's literally how they do it. Because they sell
fuck a doctor
in a bottle.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
You heard it here first, y'all. If you're trying to get pregnant, by the king cock. All right, you can just
Squirting penis. There
Right,
we go.
right.
all right. Wow. Well, this was a fabulous fucking episode, Robin.
Yeah.
Thank you so
No,
much for
thank
coming
you,
on.
Thank you.
Wow. If you have any questions again about the Afia Center, you can reach out to any one of the three of us, or you can reach out to Afia Center directly. I'll put the link in the description box. We have a giveaway right now.
Yes.
Today's Sunday, so you have about like 9 days left of the giveaway.
The 16th is the last day for the giveaway.
Let me tell y'all something right now. Robin's about to win.
I'm about
this
to
shit.
say, I'm not gonna lie.
No, Robin, no, because yesterday
I saw
whatever,
comments.
it was just like comment.
And then the next day it was 2 more comments.
Yeah. You know what? Y'all hit my friends up. I said, look, y'all already know what it is. Because let me tell you, I'm
And the stuff
a
that's
real
in there is
fan.
good.
No, I'm
Yeah.
a real fan.
I love
So I
it.
told my friends, like, yeah, I'm about to tag y'all. So
Everybody,
Hell yeah. So unless you were Robin to get all these motherfucking goodies, y'all need to go ahead and comment for your friends, because I'm sure like they have like I swear like 15 entries at this point.
Yeah.
Which we love. Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, the giveaway is until next Tuesday. I think it's the 16th.
It is the 16th.
Thank you. The 16th, US only. Go to our Instagram at allyourpleasures_. That's also our TikTok and our Facebook page.
Yes.
And then you can follow us on Twitter as well.
Run it back.
Robin, tell us where they can find you.
okay, you can find me on Twitter at robinbriaadams.com. What I say .com?
It's okay.
No,
Listen,
not
we got a
.com.
lot of tequila running
Yeah.
around this room right now.
Robin, ROBYNBRIA, Adams, ADAMS at Twitter. And then on Instagram is Robin, ROBYNB, Adams with 3 S.
Yep.
Not
You,
3 S.
you can find me there. And then also, once y'all get done with this episode, I'm going to link it in my dissertation. So
Yes.
hopefully, you know,
I love it. And I'll also
you listen.
I'll put
Period.
your info in the description so they
Yeah.
can click on you. I am now interested in listening to you defend your dissertation, and I
Yeah.
saw that you posted a Zoom
Yes,
link about it.
totally.
So, you know, you can
Put that
always
in the description also.
reach out to Robin, reach out to us if you want it, and we can give it to you. That way, so you're not bombarded. You know?
Yeah. I want it to be black as fuck, honestly.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, we are supporting you from the woodworks. Congratulations on finishing up this dissertation. It is beautiful. I'm so excited to use your info in future episodes. When I type in some shit on Google, I can't wait to see your name pop up as some research people that have done the work for us.
Right. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, and again I say, if you're listening to this on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, bitch,
Yeah.
we love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hush, hush, baby.